Well, welcome back to The Quiet Fight, episode 13. Very excited today. It's been a long time coming because I kept ducking ya. But we got Dawson here on the show. Yeah, I don't know. I'm just really excited.
Yeah, super excited. Got to know a little bit about Dawson briefly. I think it's super interesting how you got to know us. I'll let you get into that, but we appreciate you on. I appreciate the courage it takes to come on a podcast and talk about stuff like this.
Yeah.
So good on you, man. Why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself and, tell everyone kind of your background and what you're doing, and we'll get into it.
Well, my name's Dawson Searle, and I am the owner of Dawson's Canine Services here in Saskatoon. I've been doing it for about 2 years now. I've born and raised in Saskatoon as well. And it's honestly kind of crazy how I found you guys as well. My therapist recommended me to you guys, and honestly, as soon as I listened to the podcast, I just fell in love with it, and I love what you guys did. The first one I actually ever listened to was the childhood trauma one, and that's the one I resonated with the most. So
Yeah, and that was with Chris.
yes,
Who's now with us. Unfortunately, Chris can't make it today, but that's actually pretty crazy that your therapist was like, hey, check this out. But thank you to them.
Why do you
Thank you to her for sure.
Yeah. Why do you think she brought that up?
Well, because we were talking, and I was just talking about how the addiction side of things in my life kind of fizzled out, and I got sober, and I'll get more into that later. But I was telling her about how that happened, and I had zero friends. Nobody kind of in my life other than my fiance, brother-in-law, my sister obviously, and those people to kind of hang out with, and her sister. We're good friends with her, but no actual just male group of friends anymore, because everyone kind of just fizzled out after I got sober.
Kind of the drinking buddies kind of thing.
Drinking buddies, smoking buddies, all that kind of stuff, and we all went our separate ways, I guess. Nobody really said much to each other. I stopped going out, not really to just avoid the drinking. It was more just I didn't like it anymore, and
Loss of interest and other things to do.
Yeah, and then they just stopped kind of chatting with me, I guess.
I feel you, dude. I have a few of those too. So
so
I
then
get it.
She was talking about how I should get more in the mental health community and see if I can find people, like-minded people, like me, sober, on a similar journey and path and all that kind of stuff. And then she mentioned your guys' name, and I was like, I'll check you guys out. And then that's when I reached out to you guys.
Yeah, and now you're wearing our t-shirt.
Yeah. Thank you, by the way.
Looks good, by the way.
Yeah. Love the logo.
Thank you.
But and then I just reached out to you guys. I've never done anything like this. I've never really sat down and been vulnerable with any man in my life ever before. So this is the first time I've ever going to be vulnerable with people, other than my therapist and family, I guess. But
well, we know it's not easy. Every time we do this, it's always nerve-wracking. We talked about that before. And it is difficult. And even to this day, our last episode, I touched on how I've been saying I love you, Jason.
I love you too, by the way.
I've never heard you say that, so that feels really good. But it's hard, man, and it takes for something that should be so easy to say I love you or I care about you. It takes effort to actually be fuck, I gotta say this. It'll make me feel better, and I really care about this person or whatever. So hats off to you, man.
I appreciate it. It's tough though. I've struggled with it my whole life, being vulnerable with people, because from a childhood standpoint, all the men in my life, I was always told never to cry, be a man, Don't be a pussy. And that kind of like in the
Classic.
episode I listened to yesterday with Darren from Love My Mind, Chris was saying that like those words do matter because I carried them into my adulthood, and I even still sometimes will jokingly say that to certain people in my life, and it's just like, or it's like a joke, but it still matters, right?
Yeah, so, like, or you're being a bitch or whatever.
And like I've tried to retrain my brain to not say those types of things because it affected me so much growing up. And like the last time I cried was recently when I found out I was going to be going full time, just out of the sheer joy of being full time, being happy. But I don't. It took years for that to actually come out of me, you know, because every time tears would show up, it would just be like snap of the finger. My body would just automatically go into that fight or flight mode, and it would just shut it off. And it was really tough, and I still struggle with it. Like to this day, I'll start feeling myself get teary-eyed, and then I'm like, no, shut it off.
I don't want to do this right now.
Yeah, exactly.
But my body's telling me I have to.
Yeah.
Well, right on. So yeah, I mean, this platform is now yours. So, wherever you want to start, wherever you think is the most important for your story to begin, you just tell us as much as you want.
Okay. It's tough to start, I guess. Tough to pick where to start, I guess. Well, I guess I'll start like with childhood stuff. Like my childhood was rough in a sense. I grew up in a, I guess, broken home, you could say, like divorced parents, and you know, my mom did her best to try to give us the best life possible and stuff, and my dad was there, but then eventually became very absent due to addiction, and he was out of my life for quite a long time. And you know, that was kind of in my journey through high school a little bit. Like he was gone for quite a while, and no idea if he was dead or alive, and like that kind of trauma alone really messes somebody up, because it's like I would message him, he wouldn't message me back, nothing. It just ghosted kind of your own children.
He's your father,
yeah,
right? And so as a kid or a young teenager, like you want that relationship, so that would be very tough.
Exactly. And then growing up, I never had like a stable man in my life to kind of help guide me through stuff, right? Because even my dad was not, he was my dad, but like every time we'd go see him, it was just constant anger, you kind of walked on eggshells. There were so many different rules in his house that were so different from my mom's house. Like at my mom's house, it was very free because she was like, quote unquote, the cool parent growing up, because she let us start drinking young, she let us start doing things young, and that alone kind of just messes with you, because you're like, it's not a very stable household, right? And we lived with my grandparents when we were really young for quite a while, because she was a single mother, right? Bills are tough to make, and but yeah, we lived with my grandparents, and my grandma was like my mom in a way. She took us to school, she got us ready for school, because my mom was always off working or doing other things. She was kind of like, I guess, in a party phase of her life, right? Back then, and she went out kind of every night, and she had a boyfriend too, so she'd stay at his house quite frequently, and then we'd stay with my grandparents, and so that was rough, kind of growing up like that. And then eventually we got to the stable home that she lives in now, but she's probably gonna kill me for saying this, but there was a lot of men in and out of our lives, you know, like it was never, and a lot of them were not good to us, you know. They were very just verbally abusive,
disrespectful,
angry, disrespectful. Like they'd move in so quickly to our house, and it just felt like we never actually had a home to like live in.
Your safe space.
Yeah, like a safe space. And then
for like a timeline, like how, like what ages are we talking right now?
I think around the time when when we moved into her house now, I was around maybe 10.
Okay.
I think. Yeah.
Okay.
A lot of that I kind of blocked out because I never knew how to deal with it, right? So like there's glimpses of it that I don't really remember fully, but and then we lost my grandma back in 2021. It's on my arm. Sorry. 2021, and that rocked me hard because she was like a mom to me, you know. And then shortly after that, my grandpa got dementia. So he's in a kind of dementia home now and stuff. But and he was like he was probably the most stable man in my life, my grandpa.
Yep.
And now it's just seeing him like that kills me.
Absolutely.
Because it's just
was so growing up. Who would you say at that point was your role model then? Would it have been your grandfather? Or did you have somebody else in your life? Or?
Yeah, I'd say it'd be my grandpa.
Okay.
Because he was in my life very solid. Like, we'd go for bike rides, we'd go for walks. He always had dogs too, right? So like, and we'd take his big dog for a walk all the time. Like, he had golden retrievers growing up.
Yep.
So we'd always take them for walks. We'd go for bike rides down by the river and just in the park by his house. And he was probably the most stable man that I ever had. Like, he'd take me clothes shopping, shoe shopping, whatever, like back to school stuff that I needed. And we lived with them for a good portion of my elementary school years. Like, it's probably like 3 years, 4 years living with them.
Yep.
And yeah, it was good. Like, it was fun. They were fun grandparents to have, but it just didn't feel like a stable home, you know?
Yep.
So, yeah, and then I guess moving kind of into high school, I'm kind of jumping all over the place.
No,
okay.
you
Yeah.
sounds fine to me, man.
I got a question for you, though.
Yeah.
Maybe you thought about this, maybe you haven't, though. Do you think hanging out with your grandpa and going for bike rides and hanging out with the dogs, do you think that's where you got your love for dogs?
I think so.
Yeah?
Yeah. Because I always had dogs growing up in my life, like my mom and stuff, but he always had big dogs. And I've always had just a love for big dogs.
Yeah.
And just taking his dogs for walks and everything through the park. And he would go on long ass walks. Like, they were like hour and a half walks with his dogs. And like, it was so fun, right? And his dogs weren't the most well trained, but from what I remember, but they were good. Like, they were very, very good.
That's pretty cool. And that's something now you can hold on to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that's, where I did fall in love with animals the most was with him.
Okay.
Nice.
Yeah.
So high school.
Yeah, high school. That was a journey and a half. So I guess starting out, I originally wanted to be a police officer growing up. All throughout my childhood, I was like, I'm going to be a police officer. I'm going to be a police officer. Got to high school, and little did I know they did some sort of like, I can't remember what it's called, but it's some sort of a test to like test your knowledge, I guess, before going into high school.
Okay.
And then, so I did this test not knowing that it was actually going to affect my high school years.
Oh.
And so I did it, and I found out that I do have like some sort of a learning disability in a way, where I don't really learn from books. I learn from videos. So if I watch videos, my brain just holds on to it.
Almost like a more of a practical approach kind of thing.
Yeah. And I always excelled in like wood shop, art class, like just anything I did with my hands.
Hands-on,
everything hands-on I excelled in. But then after grade 9, I found out that my dream of being a police officer was probably never going to happen because of the program that I was in school. It was called the Alt-Ed program.
Yeah.
And I've never really told anyone. But it's with like mentally challenged kids, I guess. And I was in classrooms with them and stuff. So I always knew I was in like different classrooms than just the regular students, right? And that kind of rocked me to my core, finding out that like being in that program, I would have had to repeat all of grade 9 if I wanted to go into the regular program.
Right.
And that just kind of made me fall off the wagon a little bit in high school and not give a shit.
Oh, for sure.
I just stopped caring in high school because I was like, I got no dreams. It just crushed my dreams.
That would be tough.
Yeah.
Because like meeting you and talking to you, I never would have guessed.
Yeah.
It's crazy because you're successful. You're running your own business now. You're doing all these things.
Yeah.
And in grade 9, you're what, 15, 14?
Yeah.
Did you have family support kind of trying to help you guide, or was it you making these decisions?
I wish my family fought more with the school.
Yeah.
That was the one thing I think I wish. Because I tried. I was always in the principal's office because I was never at school. I skipped classes. I was late. Like I missed first period. I think 90% of my high school.
Well, yeah,
year.
because that learning that is demoralizing, man. That fucking rocks you to your core. I know if I were in your shoes, I would have done the exact same thing. I would have been like, well, fuck it.
Yeah.
I guess I can't succeed.
Yeah. And that's kind of what I was told by like the principals and stuff. Like you're stuck in these classes, you can't do it. And if you want to do it, you have to repeat a whole grade, which would have set me back quite a bit.
Yeah.
Now learning that like I can do different things to make myself like more in the, like learn it differently, right? Like if I read a book, I don't learn things the same. Yeah. I don't pick it up. It doesn't stay with me. But if I watch a video and actually visualize seeing it and doing it, it sticks with me forever.
Yep.
So, and like that's kind of the problem with the school system is they weren't willing to work with me and find out more of what the root cause was. Yeah. They were just like, yeah, you're basically screwed, and that's kind of where it made me just kind of just be like, I'm just going to throw everything away. Yep. Because I didn't care.
So then you started skipping school.
Yeah. I started skipping school. I didn't get into any drugs or anything like that in school or really alcohol that much. But the motivation to go to school was not there. Because I'm like, what am I learning? I'm learning the same math, science, all that stuff that I was learning in elementary school. Pretty much. So that alone just was like, why am I going?
Yep.
The only kind of stable classes I had was like home ec, gym, all those, like I was with the regular students, Yeah. But everything else was with these other kids, and like nothing against them, right? But like it's just, I didn't learn at the same level as them. Yeah. I learned in a different way. So, if the school just found that out or, did some other testing, stuff like that, maybe it would have been a totally different story and I would have learned everything the way I needed to. Yep. But they didn't, and that's, I think, my biggest problem with school. And I never went to university because I was just like, I can't. Yep. They, like, the guidance counselor and stuff said that there was like no really chance of me going to post-secondary unless it was for trades. Because trades you needed like a grade 10. So
did you have interest in trades at all, or?
I did for a bit. I was in the construction industry after I left high school for quite a while. I did the Saskatoon Trades and Skills program at SciAst.
How was that?
It was good. I learned a lot of like cool things and stuff about construction, and they kind of got me my first job in construction as like a laborer. But yeah, I just still didn't care about it. And I wanted to own my own construction business. That was my new passion, was that I found love with construction. But later on in life, I found out that construction is so toxic. There's so much toxic shit there that it's like, everyone's like, don't be a pussy. Like you hurt yourself, you keep going. You don't take a day off. And it was not realistic for the lifestyle I wanted to live. I actually did open my own construction company a few years back, but it failed because it just wasn't for me. And that's fine. I picked up my stuff and kept going with life. But and then like after high school, that's kind of when I got into like more drinking and smoking weed, stuff like that. Like it's actually crazy, I started smoking cigarettes when I was 14 years old in high school. That's how much I got in with the bad kids, I guess you could say. The smoker's pit. And they got me into smoking, right? It was just peer pressure. Like, here, have one. And I was sure. And then I did, and I loved it, and it didn't go away till 7 years ago. I've been 7 years off cigarettes. Yep. I've been about 2 and a bit off the vape.
Nice.
So that's kind of empowering in itself. Like I had a realization after my 7-year anniversary with my fiance. I was like, wow, I was 7 years without cigarettes, because I started quitting the year we met. And was crazy to me just to realize. I was like, before I never thought I'd ever go without a cigarette a day in my life.
Yeah.
Because before I'd just be huffing a cigarette and I'd be like, I'm never quitting.
Yeah. Man, I'm like that with vaping right now.
Yeah.
I'm just like, I can't
You
stop.
can't put it down.
I can't stop, won't stop.
For sure. Yeah.
That's a bad attitude though, because I stopped drinking, so I can
Yeah.
clearly stop the nicotine. But
Yeah.
I don't know, that iced pineapple flavor just gets me.
That was the
you know?
thing. The flavors for me, man, was like it was that. But then I
Yeah.
started finding like flavored drinks. I'd
yeah.
chew a lot of gum,
Yep.
candy, you know, just different things like that
Yep.
to kind of curb those cravings. And honestly, like, I take it day by day. But like, if I'm having a really shit day, I'm like, I fucking could really use a cigarette. Sorry if I can't swear. But
No, you just, we want you to be you.
Yeah. But I'm like, I really could use a cigarette. Or sometimes I'm like, I could really use a drink right
Yeah.
now, you know? But then that little, you know, devil and angel on your shoulder is just like, don't do it.
Yep.
Do it. Don't do it. And then I'm just like, nah, it's not worth it, you know? 'Cause I'm going to throw away a lot of years of recovery in a sense. And hard work.
Yeah.
So
do you think, so when you worked in construction, in the trades, and this is no shot at that industry, like there's great people in
Yeah.
that, right? But
100%.
did you find that it was more like specific people for toxic culture, or it's just kind of how it is?
Mainly bosses.
Bosses?
Like mainly the bosses I had just sucked, you know, like, and some of them could have been good people, but they were like heavy drinkers, like very heavy drinkers, and
like
I
that
think
work
it was
hard,
just,
play hard.
Yeah, and then like after work they would just get super drunk, you know, and then they'd come home come back to work super hungover, and it's just like, sweet, man. You know, you're dealing with a hungover boss all day that just wants to lose his mind. And like I was in the painting industry for a while, and my one boss was so angry at something, he threw a paint sprayer like head, like a nozzle of the sprayer, through the wall.
Oh yeah.
And then we had to call the drywallers back to fix it, because it's just like,
Yeah.
so now you just cost couple $100 in damage
Yeah.
for something.
But as an employee,
You know?
like now you're gonna be stressed out. You're like,
Yeah.
well, fuck, I don't know if my boss can be hungover or pissed
Yeah.
off today, if I'm gonna take the brunt of it. Like,
Exactly. And it was a lot of like walking on kind of eggshells and just like dealing with these angry people. And it kind of brought me back. That's why I think I hated it the most, because it brought me back to my childhood a little bit of my dad, because my dad like used to yell a lot. And yelling's like a huge trigger for me. Like if anyone yells at me, like that's the one thing that I think will bring back my anger, is like if I hear that. It's just like, for some reason, I've tried to work it out in therapy. It's just like I can't figure it out, but it's every time someone yells super loud, like in an angry way or an angry tone, it's just like I fucking see red and I want to just lose it.
yeah.
You know?
Do you have any, as your therapist, or have you found any way to cope with that at all that's kind of helped?
Walk away.
Walk away.
Mainly. Like
Yeah.
if I'm in a really, really starting to get a very heated argument with someone or anything like that, I'll walk away from it.
Yeah.
That's kind of been the only thing that's kind of coped in that sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that's a smart decision, right?
Yes.
Walking away, taking a breath. Are you able to revisit that conversation later?
Yeah.
Or, yeah.
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 Once I've cooled off, it's easier for me to come back and revisit it.
Yeah.
It's just in that moment, if I'm in that like angry headspace, it's only going to go up.
Yeah.
It won't, I can't get brought down once I'm already getting there. So I have to walk away and try to bring myself down. Because like if you're the trigger of that, I'm just going to continue to build, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah, that's definitely been a journey, the anger alone with me. But it's gotten a lot better.
Yeah.
Like a lot better.
Well, I'm happy to hear that, man.
Yeah.
I want to back up a little bit. And so you're in high school. You're with the quote-unquote bad kids smoking cigarettes and stuff. Was that kind of a group of friends that you carried into your adulthood? Or were your friends now your construction
No. Yeah,
coworkers?
I carried out a lot of high school friends with me, and then those are the people that I started kind of smoking weed with and just being
Going
out, drinking. Like it was funny. I had like a group of friends from Walter Murray that I would smoke weed with. And then I had a group of friends from my school and a couple other schools that I would go out and drink with. Oh, yeah. So I had two different groups of friends that did complete opposite things.
Yeah, but getting into the same amount of trouble.
Yeah, it was the same amount of trouble.
Yeah.
But we would like do stupid stuff. Like we would just go and smoke weed and just get completely stoned out of our faces and then go home and pass out. You know, and then it just like I got into such a huge cycle of that. Like it was years of just the same old stuff, you know, smoking weed, just every day. And then it would be on the weekends I'd go and just get obliterated and get drunk with my friends. The worst of it was when I turned 19. Like I started drinking in bars and doing all that kind of stuff. And then it was like, really, we're going out, we're partying, and we're having a great time. And then I'd like go home and I'd just pass out, puke, whatever, and then I'd wake up and repeat it the same Saturday night, you know? But it got to a point, I guess, like moving out of high school, the summer before I met my fiance, I drank every single day. Like I would buy like a 2-4 a week, and I'd sit on my deck with my mom and my one friend, and we'd just drink beer. You know, my mom would have her wine and stuff, and we'd just sit there and just chat all night and drink beer, and you know.
And do you find that, looking back on that now, was there any specific reason why that was your outlet at that point? Was it a bunch of things? Was it one major thing, or was it like, this is just kind of what I'm doing now? Or
it's just kind of what I was doing. Like there wasn't really anything to it. It was just I just started doing it and I liked it. It was fun. Like
makes you feel good about yourself.
Yeah, it made me feel good, you know. And then but I would drink alone. Like when I'd get into a really low spot, especially that summer, like if I was going through a really low time, I'd sit in my room and just watch TV. And back then I lived with my mom still. I'd sit in my room and I'd have a bottle of whiskey in there and I'd just pour drinks and drink by myself. And
what was a low trigger for you at that point?
Nothing really. It was just like I just felt like in a low spot. Like I would wake up sometimes and just feel like in a really shitty headspace, or I just felt like I was going nowhere with my life. And you know, I didn't have a spouse back then, and I was just like didn't really have much to live for. I lived with my mom, and I was still young, obviously, you know, like I was, I think, 19 back then. And that was, I guess, kind of what made me get more into the liquor, was just sitting in my room in those low headspaces, you know. But it was just kind of a crazy shitty time all around.
So what was next after that? So you're 19, moving forward into your life.
So next after that, I met Jenny, my spouse, 7 years now, and we hit it off. It was actually funny. It was a night of drinking at my house, and she's one of my sister's good friends from work. And my sister brought her over, and I was just super sunburnt, almost borderline heat stroke, I think, honestly, that day, because I was on the beach drinking and stuff, and came home, and I was just kind of like sitting in the back corner of my backyard. Like I was on one of those like cushion holder things. I was just sitting there by the barbecue, and I was about to start cooking for everyone and just smoking cigarettes, and then she walks in, and didn't really think much of it. She was pretty, whatever.
Have you met her before this?
No.
Okay.
First time I ever met her, so I was like, she's pretty good looking, right? And then I wasn't really gonna try anything because I'm super nervous with that kind of stuff, right? I was like, whatever. And then a few drinks in, she started kind of hitting on me, and all the things were going over my head, you know. My family, as soon as she left, was like, you didn't see that? Doing? Like, what the hell, man? Like, she was totally hitting on you, you know. And so I was like, oh, okay, cool. And then we started talking after that, went for a date and hit it off, and we've been dating ever since. Well, we're engaged now, but yeah, and then after that, she moved into my mom's house shortly after we started dating. It was very quick. And then about, I want to say like 6 months to a year into our relationship, she was living kind of with us. And then her and my mom kind of started having their differences, and then it was kind of putting a wedge between us all. And
oh yeah.
so we ended up moving out into our own basement suite. And yeah, kind of after that, it was good. I was riding kind of a good high for a little while with her, and we were in the honeymoon phase and whatever, right? And then it was kind of COVID time, like right before COVID hit. I went and bought a truck, and then I had this bright idea. I was like, I'm gonna start my own company right before peak COVID time, because I lost my job, right? Like I lost my job because of it. And that was the painting gig. And then so I kind of hit a low point there. I was on whatever that CERB thing was for a little while.
Oh yeah.
And then and like we were just in a basement suite too, and it was very like just dungeony, very just not the greatest place, like the landlords were great and everything, but it was just cold, it was dungeony, I just like
not a lot of sunlight.
Yeah, not a lot of sunlight down there, and like we got 2 cats and everything. And then so I started the business, and it was going pretty decent for a little while. Like I was getting good jobs and whatever, and then I started getting into like financial difficulties because it wasn't doing the greatest. Like I wasn't getting as many jobs as like I thought I was going to when I first started it. But I also didn't have any knowledge on business. I just was like, I've always like had an entrepreneur mindset ever since the cop dream kind of went out the window. I was like, and I think that's why I have such a big problem with authority over me, like bosses and stuff like that. Like I butted heads with almost every single boss I've ever had. Like I've gotten into fights with them, like just screaming matches, whatever.
You need to be your own boss.
Yeah, I need to like work for myself, and I've realized that after the high school stuff happened, because I think they held such a, I guess like it's tough to find the word for it, but like they held something over me that I hated for the entire years of my high school. Yeah. That I was like, you're not gonna be this, you're not gonna be this, whatever. And I think that's where that mentality kind of came from. But in saying that, I wanted to be my own boss, so I started my business, and then it failed shortly after COVID kind of started. It was like, when was it? It was around the time where, like, when people couldn't go see their families, like around Christmas time and stuff, you were told not to go see your families and stuff. And my family, of course, was rebellious and was like, we're all getting together anyways, kind of thing. And then lo and behold, my sister got COVID, and she brought it to the family function without even knowing it, right? So it was just like, who knows if we're all gonna get it. And I was back in my fiance's hometown when I found out, and we were staying there, and her family, and this is nothing against her family, I don't hold a grudge or anything, but her family was like, you gotta go. Yeah. Like right now.
You're gonna get us sick,
because you might have it, you might not, we don't know.
And everyone was scared, right? Like
and that's the thing too, I took my own vehicle there, or else my fiance would have had to come back with me. But I took my own vehicle because I stayed in town for my Christmas with my family. So I drove home. I was super bummed, super upset. Like I was like, Jesus Christ, like why are we doing this? Like what? We can't be together as a family. I didn't really understand it. I didn't agree with it, right? And I think that's kind of where me and her family butted heads a little bit with it, because I was just like, why? It's a cold. That's kind of what my mentality was about it. And then that was when I hit the low in my point.
Because she was like your rock, right? Like she was your go-to.
Yeah, she was the person I went to with everything. Even then, I didn't really open up that much about my struggles with her, like with mental health. Because mental health has been like touch and go for me for forever. right? Like, and without me even really realizing it.
Yeah.
But like I said, like before we even started this, my family was so anti-therapist, like especially my brother and stuff. My brother's like, therapy's terrible. They're just they hold you down. They don't do anything for you. They whatever. And it's just like, now that I've gone through it, I'm like, man, you could benefit so much. You know, because it's just like, he's battling addiction still, and he's going through his own stuff in Calgary, and it's just like, we can't save him. He's just got to do his own thing and eventually come to us with it, right? But yeah, and then I hit the really low point, and that's when I had the plan, and I wanted to attempt to take my own life, and nobody knew about it. And there's some people that are going to watch this that still never knew about it, because I kept it so close to me that I just felt so ashamed that I even got to that point.
Yep.
But I was fighting, hence the name of your thing. I had the quiet fight going on in my head for quite a long time before that, because the business was failing. I was struggling with money. I couldn't pay my bills. I couldn't.
COVID hit, so you're probably isolated.
COVID hit. We were very isolated because, and I felt very isolated by myself, because I went home that weekend by myself. I was stuck in my basement by myself. I couldn't see people, because we got this positive test in my family, and that was where it was like, wow, this sucks. And that was the time where I think my own brain just got to the point where I was like, why is life even worth living anymore? And I had the plan, I had everything, and what stopped me, actually, it's kind of funny in a way, my cats. I was like this close to doing it, and my cat came up and rubbed my leg. And I was just like, I just started sobbing, and I was like, he saved my life, that day, because I was gonna do it, and I didn't want them to deal with the mess. I didn't want my fiance to come home and deal with the mess of it.
Yep.
Those are just kind of the things that just started rolling through my head. But yeah, if he hadn't have done that, or if I hadn't had the animals, I probably wouldn't have been here today.
And it's crazy that you're telling us that's kind of what saved you, based on the fact that what you're doing is a career now, and you would know better than anyone the connection that people can have with
animals,
their pets, their animals, right? Like how special that is.
Yeah.
That's pretty insane, man.
Yeah. And like, so after that, it was...
I'm just going to pause here for a sec, Dawson.
Sorry.
Bring it in, buddy. That's huge.
I appreciate it.
Thanks for sharing that, man.
Yeah. Thank you.
Glad you're still here. And,
You're good, man. Yeah.
Thanks, guys.
Oh, yeah, buddy.
I appreciate it. But, and like, I haven't told many people that story at all. Like my fiance, like my mom and my sister don't even know that story. And my dad, nobody. Like it's just my fiance. One of my best friends at the time, he knew about it. And that was it. 2 people that I told. I think she eventually told her sister, because that was just such a heavy weight for her to have on her.
For sure.
But yeah, it was a crazy time to even think that I was going to do it. And then
were there, because some people have those thoughts for a long period of time leading up to something like that. Was that something for you? Or because it kind of sounds like this was because of all the isolation and all the hard times that you were going through. Was it like just that moment in time where you started having those thoughts?
Yeah, I'd say so. Like it was very like spur of the moment.
Yeah. There
wasn't very much, like I was in a depression. I kind of knew that. I was in a very low point just because everything was not going right in my life. And the isolation didn't help anything, but I was very just in a low spot, but I didn't know how to feel.
Yeah.
I didn't know how to feel those emotions out, because I've never really
been taught
how to feel those emotions, right? So I just didn't know what to do with it, and I think everything just overwhelmed me that day. And that night that I was sitting there, and I was just like, I'm so ready to do this.
It's like the whole fucking world just coming down and crashing.
That's
right?
what it felt like.
Yeah.
And it was just horrible. And I was alone, you know, and I was, my fiance's 2.5 hours away from me, and, you know, my family's only a phone call away, and they could be there in 10 minutes, but I didn't phone anyone.
Yeah.
I didn't care at that point.
Yeah.
I think that's why I never told anyone, because my family never really took, you know, mental health and stuff like that seriously. They might have in that moment, I'm not sure.
Yeah.
But I also never phoned any of the crisis lines because I never knew they existed.
Yeah.
I only started figuring out they existed after, because when I told my fiance, like she's a social worker, she was a social worker back then, and she was like, these numbers need to be on our fridge at all times, you know? But yeah, and then after that, it was kind of just a downhill fight ever since that point. That was all that consumed me for like almost 2 years. I think I fought the quiet fight in my head, and it was crazy because like every avenue I went down was death in my head. Like that's kind of how my life was gonna go. I was just gonna die of something, whether it was suicide or something else. I went through times where I was just driving down the road and I was like, I could hit that pole, you know, just like those thoughts were there. I never acted on them, but I was like, I could make it look like an accident. It could be that quick, you know. And then it came down to the point where I ended up telling my fiance all this, that's all I thought about. You know, it's all that kind of consumed my brain.
Did she have any idea at that point? Like,
not really, no.
Okay.
Only when I told her, and then she just...
What made you decide to tell her? Because that takes a lot of courage.
I think because I wanted to be saved in a way.
Yeah.
Because I was sick of dealing with what my brain was telling me to do every day. Because it was telling me to just, you know, kill yourself all the time. Yeah. And I was like, that's not fun.
It's not. No.
You know, and I was even just driving was hard. Because I'm like, what if I do it? You know, and I never told anyone because I just didn't think anyone was going to care to listen.
Yep.
You know? But in saying that, after I told her, she told me I need to get help. We had countless fights over therapy and stuff because I told her I'm not going to a therapist. I hate them. They're not good. They're whatever. And it was when she kind of gave me an ultimatum that ultimately changed everything for me, because she kind of mentioned meds, and I was like, I'm not doing meds. I hate meds. I don't think they're, something that's going to fix me, right? It's only kind of a Band-Aid fix on top of whatever the hell is going on in my body, It's only going to just make it worse eventually. And I didn't know because I didn't try it, but that was just my mentality back then on it. And I kind of just was like, well, I don't know, right? I'm not going to do meds. I'm not going to do therapy. But then she gave me the ultimatum was therapy or meds, pick one. And there was no consequence after that. There was no like, I'm leaving you. There was no anything like that. It was just, you got to pick one because you need help.
Yeah.
Right? So it's either you go to the doctor, you get this figured out with them, or you go to a therapist and you get it figured out with them. And
but you're doing one of those two.
You're doing one of those two, yeah. And she was going to get other people involved, and I think that's what maybe pushed me a little bit harder, because I didn't want people to know I was going through this stuff. So then I started reaching out to therapists, and I found one, and then she was like about my age. I'm 26, and she's about my age, I think. So I was like, oh, maybe I'll resonate with her. We're close in age, whatever. No, I didn't like her, so I just moved on to another one. And then I found this one that I'm with now, and honestly changed my life. Like, she's just been so good with me, and we connected really well, and like we can talk for an hour, and an hour just goes by like that, and I just can sit there, and I've never been able to, like, other than my fiance, been able to sit there and talk to somebody like that And, you know, I think it just made me feel really good in a way that I can actually let this shit out finally.
Yeah.
That everything in me was just like needing to let this stuff out from my childhood, from just like addiction standpoint, like all this kind of stuff. And I was like, yeah, I finally found somebody I could let this stuff out to. And I think that's what saved me in a way. And I actually made her almost cry the other day.
Yeah.
When I was talking to her about it, and told her, like, you know, therapy saved my life. Yeah. And
and it's I think it's pretty important also just to note that you didn't resonate with the first one. I think there was a second one in there, and then the third one you resonated with.
Takes a while.
It can take a while, and lots of people get discouraged. They go to one therapy session and they don't like it, so it's like, no, therapy's not for me. Unfortunately, there's not like a fix it button, right? And it's something that you have to, if you want to fix yourself and get better, you got to put that effort in to try and find somebody that you're going to resonate with.
Exactly.
And I think a lot of people don't actually know that you can pick and choose and switch. I think it's like, okay, I got this therapist, I hate them or whatever, we're not getting along. Well, I guess that's it. But no, like, it's like anything, man, right? Like, test drive a car, right? Like, you test drive your therapist, go to 1 or 2 sessions, you don't like it, okay, see you later.
Exactly. And that's kind of what I did with the one girl. And like, I went to, I think, 2 in-person sessions, and then she said she was moving away and she was just going to be doing virtual. And I think that's what did it for me, because I was going to do a virtual session with her, see how it was. And then she canceled because something came up or whatever. And then I was just like, you know, it's probably for the best, because I don't think virtual is going to be good for me.
No, I personally would want to,
I need to physically be there, because I need to be out of my house. You know, it brings me out of my house, puts me in a kind of a neutral environment, it feels like, in their office, right? Like, there's 4 walls, it's enclosed, nobody can hear me. I feel like at my home, like I'm in an apartment, maybe somebody could hear me across the hall, whatever. Like, so all those kind of things just go through my head, and I'm like, I need to be there in person, and that's the only way, right? So that's when I started the search for new people, and I found one at the office where she was at, and then I just didn't vibe very well with her. I didn't like it, didn't really get much out of it, so I was like, well, that's fine. My therapist actually was like, hats off to you for continuing to try to find somebody, because she's like, most people just give up, like you guys said, right? Like, just all of a sudden you're like, well, this one didn't work, it's not for me, you know? And I've told a few people in my life that, like, if it doesn't work, find a new one. Keep trying, because you're going to find one that you're going to actually like, or you're going to vibe with, and you're going to actually be able to talk to about stuff.
So you're seeing a therapist. When did your sobriety come into play? Were you getting sober before seeing the therapist, or was that part of...
So I had been kind of like on and off sober before I met her. Because I got sick after I left, where I met my girlfriend, and liquor just was like, every time I drink it, I'd get super sick from it. I don't know why. I think it might have just been too much drinking, probably. My body was rejecting it. And I really don't know why, but I started getting sick when I met her, and then that's kind of, I lost a shit ton of weight too. And I think that's also kind of what put me into a very low state. I went down to, like, I'm 6'2", I went down to 150 pounds. I was, like, that was the lowest weight I've ever been to, and I was skinny. And my family was like, what the hell is happening to you? Like, my dad, at that time, like, we were still talking, and, like, he was on his sobriety journey and stuff, and he lives out of town now. But, so it's just, he was like, are you doing drugs? Like, he called me a meth head. He's like, are you doing meth? And I was like, no, I'm not doing meth.
I stopped drinking.
Like, what do you mean? I stopped drinking. I stopped eating certain things, because I didn't know what was making me sick. Sometimes it was food-related items that were making me sick. And it was just a lot of different shit that I was going through to try to, like, navigate what I could eat, what I could drink, what I could whatever. And then it was almost 2 years ago now that it was New Year's Eve. actually. New Year's Eve, right at midnight, I vowed that I'd never drink again. Almost 2 years now. And before that, I had stopped smoking weed, too. Like probably 4 years before that, because I just stopped liking it. Like I said, I got into that routine of just doing it, and I just got to the point where I was like, God, I gotta stop. This is too much.
Yeah.
It's making me throw my life away. You know what I mean? I hated it. It was causing me anxiety. It was causing me to get into a depression. I just felt so down all the time. Mm-hmm. And then that's when drinking became more prevalent in my life, because I started drinking more and more. And then, but yeah, being sober has never felt better. Honestly, I don't. The one thing I don't miss is the hangovers.
Yeah.
You know, like. Yeah. I do miss sometimes the socialness of it, because it is very, like, the sobriety journey has been very lonely, losing friends and those types of relationships.
Yeah, so you had childhood, high school friends leading up to all this.
Yeah.
How did those friendships, those relationships change throughout this journey?
Is there anybody that you're still close with?
No. Not one. I had a friend, so most of my friends kind of ousted me from the group a little bit when I stopped drinking. There was, like, a lot that just, like, stopped texting the group chat. So I'm like, you guys definitely made a new group chat. You know what I mean? Like, you guys are still going out, you're partiers or whatever. But when I made that change for myself, after I met my fiance, I was just like, I'm going to stop drinking, and, that's that. But it was... I had one friend we were friends for over 10 years, almost. Yeah. And we just had a big falling out. We just stopped getting along. Yep. There was some things that happened between us and his girlfriend and my fiance, and just a lot of shit. And I was like, I'm not in it for the drama. I'm not in high school anymore. Mm-hmm. So I just stopped talking to him, because I'm just like, it was too much down. Like, every time I would bring stuff up, like that I'm going to be an entrepreneur, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, he would just, like, shut it down or be like, not on my side with it. So it just felt like the friendship wasn't going
one-sided.
anywhere. It was one-sided, yeah. It's like he wanted me to always be his greatest supporter, and, like, I was always, he wanted to be an inventor, he wanted to do things, and I was just like, yeah, man, go for it.
Yeah, we had a friend like that too.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. Yeah, and I was like, I've always been the person that, like, if you like something, do it. If you want to follow your dreams, do it. And I've constantly been knocked down for my ideas, from family, from friends, from everyone, and, like, yeah, some of my ideas weren't the greatest, but
you tried.
I tried. I kept trying. I failed so many times with different things, and I was like, I'm not gonna stop, because I have to work for myself.
Yeah. Man, all I've heard, like, during this entire time is how resilient you are. Yeah. Like, you're doing it. Like, listening to your story, how much you've overcome, how many obstacles have hit you. Yeah. Like, look at you moving forward, right? Like,
yeah. So where does the dog training fit in? How long have you been doing this, and how did you get involved in it?
And can you train my dog?
Yeah, I could definitely train your dog. We'll talk about that after.
Yeah.
But the biggest thing with the dog training was my mom got a dog kind of when I was in my low spot, like my really low spot, shortly after I had hit that point. And she got a dog, and it was a beautiful dog, like a beautiful St. Bernard. He's 140 some pounds, like just a massive beast of a thing. And he's very reactive to other dogs. And my mom didn't really socialize him properly. She went through a few different trainers in this city, and none of them could help her. Like, one of the trainers, like, I'm not gonna knock anyone, but, like, said, "Why do you want to walk your dog?" And I'm like, why wouldn't you want to walk your dog? He's gonna be a
dogs
beast.
Love
like
walking.
He like he loves walk. Like, he's gonna be huge. He needs to walk, And lo and behold, like, she couldn't do anything with him. She couldn't take him out because he was trying to kill everything. He just hated other dogs. He hated kids, stuff like that. Yeah. And he would always like attack the window once he got into like his kind of teen years, out of that puppy stage. And so yeah, I started, it was about 2 years ago. I was like, you know what? If you can't find anyone in this city, I'm just going to start researching. I started researching, I started watching videos, and this was before I took any courses or anything like that. And I started making a difference in their life. And I saw the difference that I was making with them and him and how good he was getting. And just from me watching videos and soaking up that information, I started to change his life and her life for the better. And yeah, it's now like he's still reactive, but he's manageable. Yeah. You know, like I've always said, a reactive dog is most likely always going to have that in them. It's just how can we manage it? How can we get them to the point where we have that shut-off switch? Because if they start to build, we need to shut them off, right? So with him, it's like, how do we shut him off? We got to tell him, communicate with him in his language and say, hey, man, you got to stop doing that, right? But in saying that, that's where I found the passion, was just working one-on-one with him. I'd go over to her house sometimes. I'd take him for walks. I started working with him on walks. And I just fell in love with it. Like, it was just, it started changing my mood when I would feel happy to go see him. And I would be like, yeah, cool. And like, now every time I see him, he's like the happiest dog ever. As soon as he sees me, because he knows like I'm his trainer. I've done stuff with him. And he listens to me more than he listens to my mom sometimes. You know, and that's just kind of where I grew that passion for it. But I've always had a passion for animals and loving animals.
Yep.
But now I've got a passion to keep dogs out of shelters and off the euthanasia tables. Yeah. And because I just see it so much online that like dogs just get thrown away like they're a piece of clothing. You know, go to the shelter. I don't want you anymore, or whatever. And those dogs just always end up being the ones that are labeled the worst ones. So those are on the top tier list of getting put down because why'd they get returned? You know, like if you go to the shelter and you're like, well, that one's been returned 5 times, you're probably going to pick the one that's never been returned, you know? Yeah. So that's kind of the thing that I want to start doing, is just doing some more rescue work and stuff in the city and just being more involved with that community.
Yep.
Nice.
But yeah, so then that's like that with therapy made me grow my passion more, right? Because therapy made me realize that like I'm meant to do this. I'm meant to work with these animals, save these dogs' lives, help the owners learn better communication with their animals. And yeah, and that's kind of what saved my life, because it gave me a purpose to live, right? Yeah. And those, like, honestly can't tell you the last time I ever had a thought like that go through my head.
Nice.
Yep.
Of just not wanting to be here. And it's been a long, long time.
Yep. Well, congrats on that, man.
Thank you.
Looking back, what you've been through, where you're at now, if you did find yourself in a low spot again, how would you do it differently?
I'd call somebody. Like, doesn't matter who, but I think I would just I'd most likely call Jenny and try to talk it out with her.
Yep.
And if I couldn't, I'd call somebody like a crisis line or someone else, right? Yep. But there's been a few times where I've gotten to a low spot and I've just gotten in for a therapy session.
Yep.
Right? Like right away. Like, my therapist is quite booked up quite frequently, but she has like a cancellation list. Yeah. So I put myself on the cancellation list if I know I'm going through it and I don't want to get to that point. I'm like, I put myself on that list, and as soon as something comes available, I'm like, yep. And then I go in and spew all this shit out to her, and I feel better.
Yep.
You know?
Yep.
And I come out realizing that like those thoughts are just thoughts. They're nothing else. You know, and I can get through it. Yeah.
That's amazing. How has your relationship with your family and even Jenny changed now that you've done all this work and you found this passion Has there anything changed? I know Jenny's probably good, but anything changed with your family?
Yeah, I've started like learning ways to like put boundaries up with certain people in my life, and I understand that like I don't need to be in those situations if I don't want to be in them, right? So like if I'm ever in a situation where like someone's drinking too much around me and I feel super uncomfortable about it, I can just leave. Before, I was always a yes man, so like I would just stay, and I'd feel compelled to stay at like a family function or whatever. But it's like as soon as stuff starts to get a little crazy at my family functions, I'm like, see you later. I'm going home to my nice couch and my cats, and you know, I get to watch a movie with my fiance and just have the greatest night ever, and I don't have to deal with that stuff. You know.
Awesome.
So once I learned how to put those boundaries up, that really helped me in that way.
Boundaries are so important, man. I just learned how to kind of manage and put up boundaries within the last year too, and I was a yes man. I found for myself, like when I need to leave an uncomfortable situation or whatever, it always makes me feel better when I express lots of gratitude for the invite and being present. However, I gotta go. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So no, I get that, dude.
And that's kind of where I got to, like, because my fiance was like, you got to put boundaries up. You got to put boundaries up with your family and all this stuff. You know what I mean? And she kind of was always just like that devil's advocate for me and telling me to do that. And I never did, because I was just like, I don't know how to. How do you do that? No one's there to just be like, this is how you do it. Until I went to therapy, and that's where I was like, I started working things out with her, and like she started teaching me healthy ways to put those boundaries up, right? Without even really telling those people. Because I'm not a confrontational person, and I don't really like conflict. I always feel very just like awkward about it, and especially with my family. And I was just like, I'm just gonna put them up. People will get the hint, and I think a lot of them have, right? But sorry, going back to like certain people in my life, like my dad, for example. I don't know if he's gonna listen to this, but he's gonna have to live with what I have to say. He's not a confrontational person either, and that's where I got it from. And he used to tell me all the time when I stopped drinking, "You're no fun." He'd be drunk, like, 'cause he got sober from his drugs and alcohol and stuff like that, and then he started drinking again, and that was it, just drinking. Then he started smoking weed and stuff too. But he just was like, always like, "You're no fun." He'd be drunk as hell. Me and him almost got into a few fist fights because of it. He'd get in my face and he'd be like, "You're no fun, you're blah, blah, blah." And it's just like, and then he'd always say, "Don't be a pussy. Just drink." And I'm like, why is that relating to drinking, man? So I can't be fun just because I want to be sober and better my life? So that's where, words hurt. You know, those words hurt me a lot.
Oh, for sure.
For someone listening who might be feeling a little hopeless or on the down, what would you want to say to them right now?
Don't give up. Never give up on your dreams. If you have dreams, go for them. And don't give up on anything. Like if you are going to therapy, find a new one. That's what I did, and it genuinely saved my life. Because if I didn't, I probably would never be here. But if you have dreams and passions and stuff, be resilient and don't let other people's words bring you down in that way. Because I had a lot of people that did not believe in me, and I believed in me, and that's where I am as successful with my business and stuff as I am today because of that.
So if people wanted to get a hold of your business, you have Instagram. So what's your Instagram handle?
My Instagram handle is @Dawson's Canine Services.
Okay, and for anybody to get a hold of you, is the best way to like email you then, or?
Yeah, my email's on my page, my phone number, text, email,
Okay.
DM, whatever.
Okay.
I'm available on all of them.
Nice. And you were telling us kind of what you, in the house there before, kind of what you specialize in. Can you touch on that?
Yeah, so I do like any range of like age, like I said, like I'll do any of that. I'll do basic obedience, but I specialize in dog behavior and aggression.
Okay.
So like behavioral modification cases, like I'll deal with dogs that really are massive man eaters that want to just kill you. Like I've been bit by dogs before and stuff, and it's just, that's what I love to do. Yeah. And I love seeing the change that I can make with them and their families.
Yeah.
Because those are the dogs that are most likely going to be the ones that if they go to the pound, they're not going to make it out.
Yeah.
So being able to make a change with their family and them is just the best feeling in the world.
Yeah.
Changing their lives.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That is awesome, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you have any questions for us, Dawson, at all, or anything else you want to share with the people listening?
I guess, like, how does one get involved more with the mental health community, like men's mental health community?
For sure, honestly,
there's quite a few things.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Dylan's very involved. Like, he's a runner.
Yeah.
I'm kind of a runner, starting to learn to run.
Yeah.
But there's lots of, like, Bear With Me Running has been amazing.
Yeah.
Men's Support Network.
The Men's Support Network. They now changed their name to
Brotherhood of Belonging.
Okay. Yeah.
And they host peer groups every week, I believe.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll get you in touch.
Yeah.
Okay.
Met a lot of guys there. A lot of the counselors too are awesome. Yeah. Yeah.
Essentially, like from what I've learned so far, if you're like, I found all these things basically on social media. So if I saw anything that said men's mental health or in support of this well-being, kind of thing, I would just try to see if it aligned with my schedule.
Yeah. And
I would just go to kind of all of them and see if it fit.
Yeah.
Like no different than trying out a therapist.
Yeah.
Honestly. And so we'll definitely send you some resources.
Yeah, for sure.
That's been the greatest thing about this podcast, honestly.
Yeah.
I had no clue.
I had no clue either.
What was in Saskatoon. And now we have a clue. So that's the beauty of the podcast and social media.
That's awesome.
That's part of the reason why we're doing this is to get that word out. So
Yep.
Sweet.
We'll hook you up.
Yep. So, and very welcoming, very kind, right? So we'll get you hooked up, bro.
Sweet. That's awesome. I appreciate it, guys.
No, I appreciate the fact that you took time out of your day.
Yeah.
The fact that you told this story. A lot of people haven't heard it, right? People that are close to you.
Yeah.
Takes a lot of bravery.
Yeah.
I will be very interested to see what your therapist says to you when you tell them that you were on the show.
She knows about it. She actually asked if I could if she could share it on their social medias, without like telling them that I go to them kind of thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, and I was super honored when she said that. I was like, yeah, go for it, man.
Yeah.
Supports you guys, and but she was so proud of me. Like when I went like a week ago and told her, I was like, I'm gonna be on them finally.
Oh yeah.
And she was just like, oh my god, that's amazing.
Yeah.
And,
high fives all around.
Yeah, and she just said, good for you for reaching out, because she said like it's
that takes
courage she said, right? It takes courage, and she didn't expect me to reach out. She just gave me that resource of like, here, listen to these guys, they might have something that resonates with you, kind of thing. And
awesome.
Yeah, it was crazy to know that there's a lot of people that have actually went through the same shit as me.
Yeah.
Because then you're not alone. That's the biggest thing that I've gotten out of like trying to, find therapy and everything like that. I've realized that I'm actually not alone. And like with the childhood trauma one that you guys did, that's the one I loved the most. I sent it to my fiance right away. She sent it to her sister because they got their own stories and stuff of things, and I was just like, wow, I'm really not alone out there.
That just gave me chills.
It felt good to feel that,
Yeah. Well, that's why we started it, because we don't talk about it. And how would anybody know if you don't talk, right?
Exactly.
Like, you are taking this step. You are making the difference.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. And sure as shit, someone's going to resonate with your story. So.
Yeah, I hope so.
Yeah.
And I hope that it helps them.
I think so, dude.
Yeah.
Do you have anything else?
No.
Yeah, I don't either. All right.
That was awesome, Dawson.
Well, thanks for having me on, guys.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you,
Appreciate
everybody who tuned in. Remember to like, follow, comment. Make sure you follow this guy here. And don't stay silent. Thank you very much.